There's a report making waves out of Las Vegas, and it's one the Raiders can't afford to ignore. Sources say the team and star left tackle Colton Miller are nowhere close to reaching a new contract extension, and that's a serious problem. Let's be clear, if you're building a contender, you start with your offensive line, and Colton Miller is the foundation of that line. He's protected countless blind sides, anchored the trenches, and played through pain. And now, the guy who's done everything right might not even take the field unless a new deal gets done. That's the kind of risk this team simply can't take. For new GM Tom Telesco and Director of Player Personnel JohnSpytek, this shouldn't be a debate. It should be a priority. Locking down Colton Miller isn't just smart, it's necessary. Because no matter how much potential this offense has, whether it's Brock Bowers torching defenses, Ashton Genty making defenders miss, or Gardner Minshew or Aiden O'Connell fighting for the QB1 job, none of it matters without protection up front. Look at the league. Even the great Patrick Mahomes has looked human when his offensive line fails. Remember the Super Bowl loss to Tampa Bay? The defensive front overwhelmed him. That wasn't Mahomes. That was pressure winning the war in the trenches. The Raiders cannot let history repeat itself. Right now, Miller is the only proven tackle on this roster. DJ Glaze might develop into something. And sure, there's upside there, but it's not guaranteed. You can't roll into week 1 hoping someone figures it out on the right side while your left tackle is sitting out, frustrated and underpaid. And let's not forget, Miller has already missed offseason workouts in protest. Voluntary or not, that sends a message. He knows his value, and it's clear he's willing to stand his ground. Reports have surfaced that his agent has been active behind the scenes, and unless a deal comes soon, there's a real chance he won't suit up at all. This is no longer speculation, it's a real possibility. The front office may have asked for patience. Maybe they told him, show up and we'll get it done. But that window is closing. Fast. And the consequences of inaction could derail everything the Raiders are trying to build this season. This franchise is trying to climb back to relevance. That road doesn't start with flash, it starts with grit, with toughness, with Colton Miller doing what he does best, protecting the quarterback and setting the tone in the trenches. Pay the man. The Raiders didn't hesitate to take care of Max Crosby when the time came, and they shouldn't hesitate with Colton Miller either. This isn't just about keeping a good player. This is about protecting the foundation of a young, promising offensive line that could grow into something special. Look at the pieces already in place. Jackson Powers Johnson, the powerful rookie center, has 3 years left on his rookie deal, and he's already drawing comparisons to some of the league's elite. He has the instincts, the grit, and the leadership to anchor this unit for a long time. At right tackle, there's competition brewing between DJ Glaze and Charles Turner. Both players are raw, but both bring upside. You can see the flashes, the movement skills, the length, and while they still need refinement, one of them could lock down that edge with time and reps. At guard, Dylan Parham continues to grow into his role. He's solid, reliable, and still developing. Then there's Caleb Rogers, a third-round pick who might just be a long-term piece if he pans out. What you're looking at is a young core, hungry, athletic, and full of potential. But without Miller on the left side, everything could collapse. He's the glue, the veteran, the steady hand on the blind side. And swapping him out for someone like Charles Turner or even Thayer Munford would be a massive downgrade. Charles Turner is still adjusting to NFL speed. He's a project, not a plug-and-play starter. If the Raiders have to turn to him in week 1, things could unravel quickly, especially if DJ Glaze doesn't make that second-year leap. It could turn a promising offensive line into a liability overnight. And here's something fans and front offices often overlook. Offensive tackles age well. This is one of the few positions in the league where experience matters as much as athleticism. Just look around the NFL. Lane Johnson had arguably the best year of his career in his mid-30s. Trent Williams was still dominating well into his 30s. Colton Miller turns 30 soon, and he's showing no signs of slowing down. When he entered the league, he was lean but explosive. Now he's stronger, more polished, and still just as athletic. His best football might still be ahead of him. A 3-year extension, worth somewhere in the ballpark of $18 to $20 million per year, isn't just fair, it's smart business. It would keep Miller in silver and black for at least 4 more seasons, and give this line the stability it desperately needs. The front office needs to stop playing with fire. The longer this drags out, the more risk you introduce, both on the field and in the locker room. Veteran leaders don't grow on trees, and Colton has already shown a willingness to hold out. That's not a bluff. That's leverage. Meanwhile, there's another interesting development from around the league. According to an annual ESPN report, where NFL executives and scouts rank the most impactful offseason moves, one of the most balanced trades of the year was the Geno Smith-Sam Darnold swap. Seattle sent Geno to Las Vegas and brought in Darnold and assets. And according to league insiders, both teams won. But one comment stood out. An NFL executive noted that Geno Smith gives the Raiders credibility at quarterback. That's important because credibility is something this team has lacked for years under center. Now imagine giving that quarterback a reliable wall in front of him. Imagine a line anchored by Colton Miller on the left, Jackson Powers-Johnson in the middle, and young talent maturing around them. That's not just a good idea. That's the blueprint for winning. In Seattle, PeteCarroll and Geno Smith always had a solid connection. And now, with Geno heading to Las Vegas and Sam Darnold taking over in Seattle, both sides walk away satisfied. One NFL executive put it simply, they've answered the position, for now. Seattle gets younger, the money stays the same, and they're betting on Darnold to take the next step. But for the Raiders, this wasn't just another move. This was a statement. And maybe the first time in years the franchise has finally taken control of its future at quarterback. Think back over the last 6 or 7 seasons. The Raiders were always linked to a big name, Tom Brady, Aaron Rodgers, or some other veteran star. But it never happened. They held on to Derek Carr longer than they should have. Then came Jimmy Garoppolo, then Aiden O'Connell, then Gardner Minshew. It was always a patch job, a stopgap, a shrug. This offseason, it was different. They made a move, not a reckless one like the Browns did with Deshaun Watson, but a smart, calculated move. The Raiders sent a third-round pick, number 92 overall, to Seattle in exchange for Geno Smith. Not only did they get a veteran who's proven he can win, but they did it without breaking the bank. No long-term guarantees. No cap nightmare in 3 years. Just a team-friendly deal and a guy who can play. And that matters, because for once, the Raiders are entering a season with a clear plan. Geno gives them immediate credibility. He gives them a chance to win now, especially if the rest of the roster holds up its end of the deal. And if the Raiders still want to draft a quarterback next year or the year after, they can. They haven't boxed themselves into a corner. This is smart football. And a big reason for that is JohnSpytek, the Raiders' new GM. He's been decisive, bold, clear-eyed. And while some of his early moves raised eyebrows, like drafting a running back at number 6, you can't argue with the result. This team can score now. Think about it. 2 years ago, the Raiders didn't have Brock Bowers, Ashton Jeanty, Trey Tucker, Dante Thornton, or Jack Beck. Now they do. All electric playmakers. They've doubled down on weapons. They've committed to getting faster, more explosive, and more dangerous. Even Michael Mayer, who some thought might get traded this offseason, is still here and looking sharp in camp. The Raiders aren't just collecting talent. They're building an identity. And that identity starts with a quarterback who can make plays, a group of skill guys who can break games open, and a front office that finally knows what it's doing. What the Raiders are doing right now isn't just smart, it's special. And while JohnSpytek has been at the center of this transformation, don't forget to give credit to Tom Telesco. His first 2 picks as GM, home runs. Both guys already look like future stars. Then this year, Spytek stepped up and did it again. With the number 6 overall pick, the Raiders grabbed Ashton Jeanty. And to be honest, I'm not sure there's a more complete, explosive back in this entire rookie class. The man looks like he's ready to take over from day one. Piece by piece, this team is getting better, smarter, stronger. And sooner than people think, it won't be about can we make the playoffs. It'll be we will. And the rest of the league is starting to notice. Now, before we wrap this up, there's one more report worth sharing. Something I've heard directly from a trusted source. Let's talk linebackers. The Raiders are stacked with veterans. Logan Wilson, Devin White, and Ellendon Roberts all bring experience and toughness. But behind them, it's a youth movement. You've got Amari Gaynor, Tommy Eichenberg, and Cody Lindenberg, all first or second-year players. I asked my guy who's got the edge among the young linebackers. I expected to hear Gaynor's name. He flashed last year, played fast, hit hard, showed up in preseason, but it wasn't Gaynor. It wasn't Eichenberg either. It was Cody Lindenberg, the 7th-round rookie. Yes, 7th round. is currently running with the second-team defense, and he's wearing the green dot. That's not a small thing. That means he's calling the defense. He's relaying plays. He's the one the coaches trust to get everyone lined up and in position. Just one injury away from being the guy. Right now, Ellendon Roberts is the starter, but if anything happens to him, it's Lindenberg they're preparing. Not Gaynor, not Eichenberg. It's the rookie. That tells you a lot. It tells you that the staff, possibly even PeteCarroll himself, sees something in him. It tells you that he's not just a camp body. He's part of the future. It also hints at a long-term plan. Roberts is on a short-term deal. The Raiders might be grooming Lindenberg to replace him sooner rather than later. Now, is Lindenberg the most physically gifted linebacker on the roster? Maybe not, but he's smart, he's instinctive, and apparently, he's impressed this coaching staff enough to take on serious responsibility right now. It's a quiet storyline, one that might not show up in the headlines just yet. But don't be surprised if Cody Lindenberg ends up playing meaningful snaps this season, because in Las Vegas, the rebuild is over. This is a reload, and the Raiders, they're aiming much, much higher. It's an intriguing development, and honestly, a bit surprising. Most expected Amari Gaynor to be the lead among the Raiders' young linebackers. After all, he looked sharp last season. He flashed in preseason, he plays with urgency. But instead, it's Cody Lindenberg who's earning the nod early. And maybe we shouldn't be too shocked. PeteCarroll is now in the building. This is his first draft class with the Raiders. And it's natural for a coach like Carroll, a defensive mind through and through, to lean toward the guys he just handpicked. If Carroll sees leadership and upside in Lindenberg, he's going to give him a shot. It also speaks to the defense's evolution. They're building a system with specific roles, not just generic depth charts. In some packages, Jermaine Pratt might line up on the line of scrimmage. If that's the case and Pratt misses time, Amari Gaynor could be the next man up, not Lindenberg. So this isn't necessarily a demotion for Gaynor. It's a sign that the Raiders are being strategic, building flexibility into their linebacker room. One guy may lead on the second-team base unit, another may rotate in for sub-packages or blitz-heavy looks. Training camp will tell us more. Right now, it's Cody Lindenberg wearing the green dot on the second team. That means something, but it doesn't guarantee anything. And that's the beauty of this team. The competition is real. A few weeks from now, the pads go on. Reps get tougher. Coaches tighten their rotations. And the depth chart will start to take shape. Not on paper, but on the field. One thing is certain. Under PeteCarroll and this new regime, nothing is handed out. Everything is earned. The Raiders are changing. They're faster, younger, sharper, smarter. And this time, they're building for something bigger.